Hey there, guys, and welcome back to the Travis and Damian podcast, episode 123. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, YouTube, and more. Today, we are talking about Star Wars KotOR Remake, Marvel Spider-Man 2, the PS5 Slim, MCU Daredevil Layoffs, Ahsoka Finale, Loki Season 2 premiere, Sonic Frontiers, the Final Horizon update, and more. But as usual, we're going to start with our recent activities, and I will let Damian take the floor.
Yeah, so I have one thing. Well, I technically have two things. We're going to be talking about the Sonic DLC later because I'm sure that's going to be a discussion. But yeah, so I've been playing the Pokemon Violet DLC, the Teal Mask, or part 1 of whatever the DLC is actually called. I forget. But yeah, I liked it. I mean, honestly, I think the Pokemon DLCs have been pretty good so far. I thought Sword and Shield was like kind of mid, but the DLCs I thought were actually pretty good. Scarlet and Violet I like a lot more than Sword and Shield, but it's obviously like a lot more broken, just like technically. But I think the concept is a lot better. Like I think an open world Pokemon game is just more entertaining to me anyway, more personally, because my favorite things about Sword and Shield were the wild areas, which is like the sort of little open world segment in that game. And now that the whole game is open world, I think it's a lot better. But the DLC doesn't really it's just more Scarlet and Violet. Like it doesn't really add like more like things to do, like more end game stuff to do, if you will. It's mostly just like, here's a new area to explore, here's like 100 new Pokemon, new stories, like a new mini game, more legendaries, and that's about it. So like, it doesn't take me too long. I took my time. I caught every Pokemon I could see. I did every side quest they had there, and I think it took me like probably a lot longer than most people. It took me like at least 10 hours to do everything because I'm slow. But if you're just rushing through the story, it's probably like not even like 3 or 4 hours. So, if you think, because right now you can only buy part 1 and part 2 together for $30. So like, if you're just buying this by itself for $30, like probably wait for the next part of the DLC because that's going to be a lot more meaty. That's supposedly supposed to add more like end game content and like, just more stuff to do, like the second part of the DLC and Sword and Shield as well. But for what it was, I thought it was pretty good. Like I thought a new area was nice. I like the theming of it being more like I guess like traditional Japan type stuff. Like like you do like a little summer festival shit like they always do in Japan and stuff. That was pretty fun. I thought the story was pretty good. I like the new legendaries. So I thought the DLC area was nice, but it's kind of light on content, just like how the Sword and Shield first DLC was. So if you're kind of hesitant on that, then probably like don't bother with it until the second part comes out. But I thought it was worth it. I also been like just addicted to it in general again. Like I just been I've been going back and getting some shiny Pokemon. I've been doing some like the raid battles, which I think are a lot better than they were in Sword and Shield. Like I think they balance them a lot more. So I've been having a lot more fun doing those. Shiny hunting is also just like super fun in this game. You could just get like super, like I just get shinies like crazy in this game, which is great. So yeah, I just been kind of addicted to it. Like I've been meaning to play more Starfield, and I will because I really want to finish it. But yeah, I've been super addicted to like Pokemon again. So oops. But yeah, it's been a good time though. So obviously, if you like Scarlet and Violet, you probably already have the DLC. But if you're more hesitant on the game, probably just wait until the second part and just buy both of them, or not. Whatever. Also, it runs like shit. It's actually surprising. It's actually surprising how much worse this runs than the base game. Like the DLC area like chugs like a motherfucker. Like it's really bad. And the base game of Ravi was like pretty bad, like technically. This is kind of worse. So if that really threw you off, like if you really didn't like that about the base game, then yeah, this is kind of worse than that. But yeah, besides that, I thought it was pretty good. But yeah, it is what it is. More Pokemon. Not much else to say at the moment. I'm more excited for the second DLC because I know that's going to add a lot more exciting stuff, like the second DLC for Sword and Shield, which I thought was really good. So pretty good overall.
All right, so let me get into what I've been doing. Obviously, it's not a Pokemon game without it being buggy and shit, but I've been playing. I've been playing a few indie games that I have received code for. So first up, BIT.TRIP RERUNNER. I have a full game review on my channel about this. This is my first time ever playing a BIT.TRIP game with Commander Video and everything. So it was kind of
really,
that's
crazy.
We've heard about BIT.TRIP Runner for like years and years and years. I think I played a little bit of Runner 2, but I never like fully dove into it. So playing BIT.TRIP ReRunner, it was kind of interesting and a lot of fun. I mean, you can get through the main adventure and like get through all of the levels within the first, I think it's like 3 areas within like 4 hours or something like that, 3-4 hours. Then after that, there's like a bunch of bonus levels from like the past games that you can play. So yeah, I mean, it's just a fun rhythm platforming game that I had a pleasure of playing for the first time and reviewing. And then the other game that I have been playing, I literally just quote unquote finished it today, is CounterAttack Uprising. The thing about both of these indie games is that they, not just because I got free code for them, but they have a lot of replay value. Like you can go back into them and do older levels or like harder difficulties. And CounterAttack Uprising is a shmup. I am very bad at these games. The one thing I learned very quickly with this one in particular. So I had the game on like pretty much like the normal settings, like arcade mode and then medium. And then I was like, I am really fucking bad. Like I am just dying over and over again, losing all of my lives like instantly because I'm just like not paying attention quick enough. So I moved it to casual because it gives you save states, and on top of that I moved it to easy because the enemies have less health and I don't lose my upgrades after I die. So literally when I hit the shoot button, there's like a bajillion projectiles just on screen. So it does get a little bit hectic and it is kind of fun, but this is definitely a game that you need to replay over and over and over again, not just because of that aspect of just like getting better at the game, but also there's different characters that you could try out. There's different upgrades and like attachments and mods and everything like that that you can work around with. So sometimes I'll go into a level, I have this mod and I'm like, this is dog shit. Like I don't like this. So then I go back into it, and then for the next level I can like change it up and like switch things around. So yeah, definitely excited to hopefully review that by Saturday. Hopefully that'll be out on my channel later today if you're watching on YouTube, if I am quick enough with it. But yeah. And then I went to Target and I played the Mario Wonder kiosk demo.
Oh yeah, dude.
And I did a whole TikTok on it. It has 6K views on YouTube, surprisingly. And I was very shocked when I saw that. I was like, holy shit, like this shit's like popping off for my standards anyways, because most of my videos get like less than 100 views, and like the TikToks they get like 100 or maybe more. But for like 6K, I'm like, shit. So I'm glad that I'm doing original TikTok content now, and this one is the second one that I've done. And
TikToker.
Yeah, I'm becoming a TikTok. I mean, I'm low-key kind of liking it now, which is kind of weird because like I was very much like, I don't like short form content. People are going to forget about it within a day or whatever. But I mean, like I could get it done within like a few hours, as long as I have everything and I just like write the script, record it, everything. Anyways, the Mario Wonder demo. Pretty much played the first level. I could have played the second level, but my girlfriend hopped in during that second level, and I was like trying to teach her how the game works, and I didn't know that it was like a timed demo. Like it wasn't just like after you finish the second level, then you end it. It's actually timed. So I only played the first one like fully, and yeah, it's pretty much what you would expect from a 2D Mario game. I mean, we literally went back home and played Mario U Deluxe because I have it, and it's been years since I've touched that game, like in general.
Yeah, me too.
So I was like, it's been a while since I played a 2D Mario game, and I was honestly sucking ass on that one. But with Mario Wonder, I mean, it's pretty much more or less the same from what I can remember. I don't think there's collision within the new game because I know in Mario U we were like bumping into each other a lot because
yeah, well, you could pick people up.
Yeah, that game is a lot more troll. But with Mario Wonder, it's very much just like a vanilla like Mario 2D experience. Using the elephant power is like kind of interesting and really funny because you just see like your character. I was playing as Yellow Toad, so literally Yellow Toad just like turns into the fucking elephant. I'm like, all right, I guess that's how it works. But yeah, and then I think the first level also has that wonder thing, the wonder
flower
effect.
thing.
Yeah. So, you see like the level like do a bunch of like weird shit or whatever. So yeah, it's pretty much what you would expect from Mario Wonder. And I cannot wait to play it when it comes out next week. And we'll talk about it hopefully next time on the podcast. We're gonna talk about 3 games, which is gonna be fucking crazy. But
Sonic, Spider-Man, and Mario. It's gonna be a lot.
Yeah. So hopefully I can get time on all of them equally, but we'll see. Then the last thing I've been doing, I've been losing my fucking mind once again in Overwatch 2. My girlfriend has been getting into it, so I have been reluctantly joining her on her sessions. And not gonna lie, at first I was kind of having fun. I'm silver 5 as tank, so I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm like getting kind of better at the game, but at the same time,
who you playing as on tank?
I play as Reinhardt, and I also play as Orisa and Ramatra. So I've been liking Orisa a lot. She has been a lot of fun to play because also
super fun.
She's also broken.
Yeah, she is very broken.
So,
she's such a bully and like doesn't die.
Yep, exactly. As long as you don't overlap all of your abilities at once, which is what you should do on like all of your heroes. But yeah, we also just played today. I think it's like the Horde mode for like the Halloween stuff.
Yeah.
We played it on, I think it was hard. Then we tried it on Legendary, and fuck Legendary. Legendary is like actually insane. That the enemies take so much health. They do a lot more damage. Literally, when you get down, it takes a lot more time to pick you back up now as well. So we did not get through that, but we did get it through on hard mode, and you know, it's just like a standard horde mode. I always like it when when first person shooter or just shooter games in general introduce a horde mode, because I think that is just like a fun, mindless way to just like have fun with your friends. But when it comes to just like Overwatch multiplayer, you know, it's the same bullshit that I talked about last time, but this time there's actually a lot more hackers. There's like so many people that are just cheating.
Oh, is there?
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know what it is, but we played like a few games, and this past week alone, I think we've run into like 2, 3, maybe even 4 hackers, or people just like aimbotting. And you could see it like after you die, you see like the kill cam, and they're just like aiming at the wall, and then it's like they're like hovering over like their head, like exactly. And I'm like, that's not normal Overwatch behavior. Like the new support hero, I forget their name, but
like Alari or whatever.
Yes,
the fuck?
Alari. She is very strong, just like I guess like her just like
railgun thing. Yeah,
just like her normal railgun, and someone was straight up hacking. And like they said it in the fucking chat, they're like hacks online, and I was like, the fuck? I think they're just being cringe. And then I was like, oh no, wait, you see the kill feed is like headshot. I was like, this shit is not cool. It's not fun to play against. So I guess Blizzard just doesn't give a fuck anymore, because it honestly makes playing Overwatch 2 really just like annoying and just like not fun, because you literally just have to sit there. You can't FF. You can't like, you know, just like have the game go by faster just because you know you're gonna lose. So yeah, that's like the one thing I wish Overwatch multiplayer had, was just like a fucking FF button, because like I know people are gonna spam it because like, oh my god, we're like losing so hard, but like in certain situations like that where it's like this guy's just straight up hacking and like we can't really do much about it, even if we try as much as possible to like kill them and then afterwards try to, you know, push or whatever, they're gonna respawn and then just kill everyone. Like it doesn't really matter. So
yeah, I guess they don't have it just because most games are like about 10 minutes. Like Payload is like the longest. Payload competitive takes like 20 minutes. So like an FF button for that would be nice. But you know, it's surprising that hackers are hacking Overwatch, because it's like the game is already like not fun. Like don't make it more not fun. So
yeah, I mean playing on there's also that new mode where you like King of the Hill kind of thing where it like moves.
Yeah, Flashpoint.
Yeah, that shit takes forever, and I hate playing that, because it's either quick 3-0 or like it goes to all 5, and I'm just like, the shit, it'd take forever, and then when I lose I'm gonna be bad. So but yeah,
I just think the points are way too fucking far away from each other. It's like I'm playing like a single player game. Like why do you move like 2,000 meters like across the map? Like Jesus.
Yeah.
Like just a lot of downtime. I'm not a big fan of that game mode either.
Yeah.
But
yeah. I just anytime I play that and I'm like DPS, I'm like I have to go soldier, because like I need to like move around the map, because like if you play some like May or even like Bastion, it's like you're gonna fucking take forever moving around. But
yeah.
That's enough for my Overwatch rant for now.
Yeah, I need to play the new season. I know it came out this week, so I'll probably
that's
play
exactly
a little bit.
Why I'm back in it. Help.
Like, honestly, like I know this is so scummy, but like the 2 skins in the ultimate like fucking bundle are so good that I'm like, am I really gonna drop $40 on this?
I think my girlfriend did do that. I think she did.
They look so good. I'm like, oh fuck, but whatever. I'll talk about it next time. All right, so now we're on to the news. We have some news here. So yeah, remember the Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake? You know, everyone was excited for that. The trailer got privated. So, you know, we haven't heard anything about this game since it like came out, or since the trailer came out, which I don't 2021 apparently was when they showed it. And you know, after that trailer came out, we've heard nothing but like really bad news about this remake, about the people who are making it. Like they're basically gone now, and like just a bunch of trouble production. So when the trailer got privated, people just assumed like, oh, it's basically canceled. But Sony was like, nah, it's just because of like trademark reasons. Like, don't worry, it's fine. Which, you know, probably is true, but I still feel like this thing is gonna get canceled. Like I feel like we've heard nothing about this game since it showed up, and even when they showed that trailer, it was basically just like they didn't even start making the game yet. It was just like, yeah, we're doing it, and that's about it. Which like I really hate trailers like that.
Yes.
Like they did the same thing with like Elder Scrolls 6, where it's like they showed that trailer like 5 years ago, and now they're just starting production on it. I'm like, what's even the point? Like, why show it?
Yeah, I think it's just them being like, we don't want people continuing asking about it, but now that they know it's coming, they're like, where is it? Was the next trailer? So it's always going to be like that constant cycle of just like, when's it coming? Is it even happening? So, but yeah, they delisted the trailer because of licensed music, to be exact. And yeah, I mean, my girlfriend is a huge fan of Knights of the Old Republic, and as a person who has never played it, I think my brother, he had KotOR 2, and I think he played it, but I don't know if he actually got through all of it because we were just young kids and just like not knowing.
No way. There's no way you would have.
Fucking not knowing how like video games work in general. But yeah, I mean, this is a remake of like a beloved like Star Wars game. It's counted as like one of the best, if not the best ever. And for them to be like, hey, we're remaking it, but for some reason they got the studio that made all of the ports and like the remasters, or not even like remasters, just like porting the old games to like current generation consoles, and then being like, all right, now you're gonna have to remake this entire big ass fucking AAA kind of Star Wars game from the ground up. And it's like, well, where do we start? It's like, I don't know. We don't have a lot of experience. They probably don't know how to like do all that stuff like thoroughly. And I think that for them to, or I guess like the community as a whole to be like, is this game going to get canceled now? It's like, yeah, it looks like it could be on the chopping block. Who knows? But I think that the game is still going to try to happen. But I think at some point it may just get the plug pulled.
Yeah, and like you said, it does suck because like I heard so many good things about this game, and I really want to play this and its sequel, but they're like, they're so old at this point. Like going back, like it's not even just like, obviously it came out during like the Xbox generation and stuff, which isn't like that old in terms of games, but I feel like Western RPGs during that time were like so complex and like annoying to play, and this is coming from someone that likes that stuff. It just seems really like clunky and awkward to me. So like a remake would have been a great time to really explore like this sort of like Star Wars lore and shit. I really like the MMO. Like I really like Knights of the Old Republic. Like I think a lot of that stuff is really cool, and that basically borrows from like these two games. But it kind of sucks that this remake just might not happen at this point. It was just too ambitious for such a small studio. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of wish they like, I'm not trying to throw shade at them, but probably should have gotten just a bigger developer with more experience to do this, because it's a big game, so it kind of sucks that it might not see the light of day, but I guess we'll see. Nothing's really confirmed yet. It's just privated because of licensed music apparently, so I guess we'll see in the future, but I wouldn't hold your breath. So,
I think that if they were going to remake this game, they should have had like some sort of prototype, something to show, to be like, okay, yeah, like this is possible kind of thing. I mean, like I'll go back to the case of like Sly Cooper 4 Thieves in Time. That was a game that was built from their passion to make another Sly Cooper game. And so then they built the prototype, and then Sony was like, hey, here, make the collection of all three of these games. We'll see how those sales go, and then they'll greenlight the fourth game. So I think that if they were to do that, maybe with this, I mean, I don't know. I think that that's like, I guess like a different approach of it, where if they were to make a full remake, they should have remastered it first. But then again, that's like a whole weird thing to do, where it's like you're making a remaster, then you're doing a remake, which I guess is a good segue. If you have anything else to say on Star Wars before I transition into this, transitioning into The Last of Us 2 Remastered, apparently is probably likely going to be Naughty Dog's next game. So the way that this story broke out was that it got leaked by one of their outsourced artists, Mark P. He had it on his LinkedIn profile about The Last of Us 2 Remastered, and it's like, oh, you don't just drop that on your LinkedIn profile and that sort of just goes unnoticed. So it seems like that could be their next game that they are working on. I mean, like, it already has a sort of like enhanced version on the PlayStation 5. I believe it does support 60 FPS and like better graphics and all that stuff. But I wonder what they're going to do for this remaster, if it's even necessary at all to like, bump it up onto the PlayStation 5. What are they going to do gameplay wise? What are they going to do for the game itself to make it different, to incentivize people to rebuy it once again at probably like $60-$70,
Yeah, like, like Last of Us 1, like, people were bringing it up, like Last of Us 1 got a PS4 remaster like a year later, but that was also because PS4s couldn't play PS3 games, so it's like kind of understandable.
Yeah.
This game is like, you can play Last of Us Part 2 like on your PS5, but so this one feels a bit more like egregious. It's like, why is this a thing that's happening? Then we have to add, the game already looks great on PS4, right? Like the game looks great. Like the only thing you can really add is like maybe more frames. I think it was 30 frames on PS4.
Yes.
I guess they could up the frame rate. I guess they could do some other stuff, but yeah, it just seems like it's not as necessary as already the first game was already like people weren't like that thrilled about being remade already because it's like the original was fine. Again, as someone that never played Last of Us, I guess it was fine because like I was gonna buy the remake because why not? For this one, I'm like I might do it again, but like, it's also like it's on PS4 though, and it's still fine. So it does feel kind of like a waste. And I know there's a lot of Naughty Dog hasn't been in everyone's best like interest right now. Like people have been very down on them because it's like when you basically I never saw a franchise that has 2 games and they have like 5 like before. So it does feel like they could just like use this effort to like make something else. But from all the rumors and leaks I've been hearing about how badly Factions was going and how it's basically canceled at this point, this is probably why they're doing it, maybe to save some assets and like, okay, we could probably just do this to recoup some of that money lost during that development while we work on whatever next game they're doing next. So I feel like that's why this is happening. But either way, it is still weird. I feel like this is going to happen eventually anyway because of the show was going to happen. Like the show season 2 was going to happen. They want to have more sales on the game and stuff. So, but is it still a waste of resources? Like kinda, but I guess that's just how Naughty Dog does things now. So
yeah, it's still that sort of Sony cinematic third-person open adventure sort of games that they want to keep pushing, and that's why Last of Us Part 1 got remade in the way that it did and the way that it was charged as well. It was still like a $70 game or whatever it was. And for them to remaster this one, it's not even 5 years old yet. I mean, I can see why they're doing it. I'm playing kind of devil's advocate here, where it's like season 2 is going to come out and they want more people to experience that game's story before they dive into season 2, so they could potentially see what the differences are. Or hey, to those people that have only watched the HBO show, just keep it that way. Just go into season 2 not knowing what the hell is going to happen, and maybe that emotional impact will hit them a lot more. But, even then, as someone who is a big fan of The Last of Us, watching the HBO show, those emotional moments were still, like, insane. And, like, I cried at some of those moments. I was like, holy shit, like, this is, like, insane and crazy. And, like, it's definitely, like, the best video game adaptation that we've had so far. And for them to really, Naughty Dog, in and of themselves, to put all of their baskets or all of their eggs into The Last of Us basket in and of itself is, like, understandable. But for them to just keep pumping out the same shit over and over again, it is getting a little egregious. And I think that Fractions, the fact that it hasn't even come out yet and that people are still wanting that Last of Us multiplayer experience, because I did play the PS3 multiplayer a little bit. I don't know if it came back for the PS4 remaster, but
it did not.
I did play it on the PS3 and I was actually having kind of, just some fun. I was like, this is like kind of weird. It's always like the like Naughty Dog multiplayer experiences where I'm just like, I'll just try this out, see how it goes. And then it's like, I'm having like a lot of fun with it. Same thing happened with Uncharted 2. Like I was just playing as
Uncharted 2 multiplayer is pretty sick. Yeah.
For like no reason. I was playing as like Cole from Infamous and shit like that. I was like, this is a lot of fun. But I don't know what's going on with Fractions. I don't know if they just don't know like how to like function in it or whatever, or like if they're trying too many different things or whatnot. But with the recent layoffs and everything that's going on behind the scenes, it looks like that The Last of Us 2 Remastered is their next step, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm sure people would like just like them to either do like a Last of Us 3 or just like do a new IP in general. But it just makes money, and they want to ride that Last of Us wave. And people are really sick of this series, and it only has 2 games, which is not great. Because I don't think people were sick of Uncharted until like it was over. So and people were like, I could do more. I don't know. I just feel like Last of Us is kind of a hard thing to just make more games of. Like I feel like Uncharted is pretty easy because he does a new adventure and shit. Last of Us definitely feels more like it could have just been a one and done thing. It would have been fine, but money and stuff. So so we'll see what Naughty Dog does. They're not as good as my go to Soniac. It's all right. It's all good. Even Sucker Punch, honestly.
It always comes down to the money.
Yeah. All right, so speaking of more remasters, we got the Red Dead Redemption remaster. Surprisingly, gets a 60 FPS update for PS5 right now. I think it's just PS5. I don't think it's on Xbox just yet, like for the frame rate patch, because I remember reading that some people were mad about that. But either way, we talked about this game a remaster like earlier, and how it was like $50 or some shit, and that's outrageous. And it was like only 30 FPS, and like that was really bad. Now at least it's 60 frames now, which does does make it a bit more appealing. I still think 50 is a little too much for this. Like,
yes,
but once it goes to like 20, I do want to play it. Like, I've never played Red Dead Redemption. I have like everyone telling me it's like the most amazing thing ever. I'm like, okay, I will play it. Same thing with Red Dead 2. Like, I really do need to play both of those games because I know how good they are. But I'm glad this isn't as broken as the GTA like remasters were, because those were like a train wreck. Like, this one was like just fine. Like, it was just a fine port. And now with the 60 FPS update, like, that's even better. So obviously, I'm sure if you want to just emulate it or whatever, or play on the backwards compatible stuff for Xbox, then you could go ahead and do that. But for other people, like for PS5 owners, this is great, because I probably would just buy it on PS5 anyway. So that's good at least. I still think it's too overpriced though.
Yeah, I think that pretty much everyone agrees that it being $50 is kind of ridiculous. I know at the bottom of this IGN article, Take-Two's EVP pretty much was like, this is how we viewed the game, as like, its quality and shit like that or whatever. Or should I say it's a boss or whatever. That's just the commercially accurate price for it, which is like kind of crazy to say. Like I said last time, it's sort of them being like, this is like our stamp of quality or whatever. But people still like Rockstar games. People will still buy Rockstar games, but I think them being as ballsy to price at $50 is like kind of crazy. But going back to the 60 FPS update, I think that this is great. I mean, I also want to replay Red Dead Redemption. I haven't played it since I played it on the original Xbox 360, and that was years after it came out, and I had a great time with it. It was like one of the best games ever, probably my favorite Rockstar game by far, just because I'm not a big GTA nut in and of itself, but I think that now that it runs at 60 frames on PS5, if you have the game or have never played it, consider buying it. I think it's coming out physically tomorrow, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, I'm sure that this game will go on sale a year from now, or hopefully 6 months from now, so more people can actually play it, because I definitely want to have a physical copy of it for PlayStation consoles, because I think that is also like a big thing as to why they ported this game, was because it was never on PlayStation anything before. So
yeah, so it's kind of weird how I feel like Rockstar started to change like allegiance. Like, I feel like they were like mostly Xbox, now they're like mostly Sony, so it's kind of weird. But yeah, either way, it's good for people to have it, and but I'm still waiting for a price cut. So
yeah, same here. Speaking of ports, we got Batman Arkham Trilogy has been delayed for Nintendo Switch. So I'm sure they saw Mortal Kombat on the Switch, and they were like, all right, guys, maybe we should hold off a second and wait until obviously October is a stacked ass month. It was supposed to come out tomorrow, October 13th, but now it will launch on December 1st. So you know what? They're giving themselves a decent amount of time to, polish the game out a little bit more for the Switch, maybe optimize it a bit more. Obviously, like, these games are kind of old, and they should run on the Switch fine and perfectly fine, but obviously this is the Nintendo Switch or top value. This shit is not going to be easy for them to get it fully running and fully functional. I'm sure that when the game comes out, I would be very surprised if these games work perfectly, flawlessly, 30 frames and everything, but I feel like that there's going to be some problems with it here and there.
Yeah, it's probably going to be like run like shit, to be honest. I mean, like, with the rumors with the Switch 2 coming out next year and shit, like, there's been a lot of rumors and leaks and shit. I just hope we get it soon. But I love the Switch, and the Switch could do like amazing things. Like, I'm still surprised like of the output of Nintendo and of their first party games, and like how good they could look. I mean, like Pikmin 4 I thought looked really good for what it was. Same thing with Tears of the Kingdom. But a lot of these ports, like, I just feel like, why would you get it on Switch? Like, same thing with Mortal Kombat. Like, I feel like the Mortal Kombat 1 port, like, should have not even happened. Like, I feel like that shouldn't be the case. But I also feel like people buy Mortal Kombat 1 on Switch. I'm like, why are you buying it on Switch to begin with? Like, I don't want to victim blame, but I'm still like, why are you doing that? Like, what did you expect it to look like? But again, I still agree it should have not came out in such a bad state. But still, I'm like, yeah. So when the Switch 2 comes out, hopefully we can get better ports and stuff. But it's apparently supposed to have the power of like a PS4 now, so very cool. But either way, hopefully we see better ports. But right now, I'm like, you could just buy it on anything else. So like, just buy the Arkham games on anything else. Like, it's probably would be fine. I'm still guilty of not playing these games either. There's so many games. There's not enough time, dude.
Yeah, there's never enough time to play everything. But yeah, if you have a Switch and that's the only thing you have, then you could play the Arkham Trilogy for the first time, or run through it again on the Nintendo Switch coming December 1st now.
All right, so now we got some Spider-Man news. So we got a new trailer here, the Be Greater Together trailer. Just a CGI trailer showing some cool stuff. You know, we see them doing all the cool stuff. We got more discourse about Peter's face that I saw on Twitter. I don't fucking care. Venom looks really good.
Yes.
So like, I feel like for me, the main point of this is like seeing like a lot of Venom in action, and he looks really good. So you know, I really like his design. I think it looks great. Just the action in this trailer is really fun to see. I'm very excited for the game. You know, it already comes out next week, which is insane to me. But yeah, it just looks great, to be honest. And yeah, I don't know. Did you see all the discourse around like MJ's face too? Like, there was a lot of like stuff about that too, because it showed like a render of her, and people were like, "Why is she ugly now?" or something. I'm just like, dude, I'm so over the faces in this fucking shit. My lord.
I mean, this trailer leaked. I think it was Brazil leaked it or whatever. For some reason, they got it earlier than I think we got it, I think, a few days later. But yeah, you know, this is a fantastic CGI trailer. They've done one of these for every single Spider-Man game so far. And I think that this one really does sort of give players like an idea of what this story is going to be. You know, both Peter Parker and Miles Morales going through their own storylines about what it means to be Spider-Man to them. And obviously their big climactic fight with Venom, hopefully at the end. And yeah, you know, with the whole, I guess, like face discourse, you know, I've been following this shit for pretty much most of my YouTube stuff for the past year or two. And I think that this trailer has really opened people's eyes to like, hey, you know what? The new Peter Parker face model isn't that bad. I mean, it does in this trailer, admittedly, in my opinion, look closer to, I guess, like Tom Holland or whatever. But then again, you know, like I said, it's just another white boy, guys. You know, Peter Parker's just a white boy. You know, anyone can wear the mask, and this is just the face that they've gone with for this next generation of Marvel Spider-Man. And I think that, you know, like Yuri said, you know, just get over it. You know, he doesn't care if he looks like a goblin or whatever the fuck. So, and with the, I guess like with the MJ stuff, I mean, you know, ever since the story trailer, people were thrown off because it looked like a different face model and someone else sort of being that face for MJ. But it is just the same actress. It's just that with the enhanced power of the PlayStation 5, they made it look better, I guess. But, you know, at this point, you know, I don't fucking care about the faces.
I don't care. It's fine. I will judge it when I actually play the game, and I'm not going to be judging that. I will be judging the game.
Yeah.
So either way, I'm still very excited for this game, and I need to actually buy like the Super Ultra Edition. Like, I haven't done that yet.
Digital Deluxe.
Digital Deluxe. Oh my god, edition. So, I didn't buy the 19 inches of Venom. I did not buy that because yeah. Wait, are you doing the thing where you bought it twice? Like, did you?
Yes,
you
I bought it twice
right?
again. I bought it. Okay. You caught me. Okay. So this is what I did. Obviously, I fucking bought the $200 19 inches of Venom bullshit thing because I'm a shill. And then I was like, I'm not going to wait until my package comes in so I can put the code in. So I'm going to just buy it on my PlayStation right now and then sack the $70 now. But then my girlfriend also wants to do the same shit that I'm doing because she wants to play it as well. And I'm like, fuck, I'm going to have this extra code because she's not going to wait. So then I asked our good friend Louis, I was like, hey, did you pre-order Spider-Man? He was like, nah. And I was like, all right, I will give you this code for $50. Just like incentivize him to like, just get it out of my hands. Cause like I could have charged him $70, but I'm just like, I just want it out of here. Like, I don't want to go through the hassle of like trying to resell this or whatever. So, you know, I'm immediately going to buy 3 copies of Marvel Spider-Man 2. So, but
my lord.
Hey, you know what? I fucking am excited for this game. It honestly has not hit me that it's coming out next week just because like, it's like so close, and like, you know, we've known about this game for like over a year at this point, and it's just like now it's here, you know. So I hope that it delivers. I'm trying my best to fucking avoid spoilers, and if anyone spoils me, I am not friends with you anymore. I'm being for real. But yeah, very, very, very much looking forward to this. Speaking of more PlayStation stuff, we got the new PlayStation model has been announced. It is not called the Slim, but it is pretty much a fucking Slim. So they pretty much shadow dropped this a few days ago. And it is going to come out this holiday in November for the US and other regions later on. It has a 30% sort of smaller volume capacity. The 2 editions still remain, but they are similar prices. So $500 for the base model with the disk drive, and then it is actually $450 now for the digital edition. But it's only $50 more because they had to do some weird stuff with the tech to make it so if you want a disk drive, you can buy one later on for $80. So, you know, if you can't find the the regular PlayStation 5 Slim in stores. You could just get the digital edition, buy some games like that, maybe even just like get like PlayStation Plus Premium or whatever. Buy that for now, and then once you find the disc drive, then you could start buying physical games if that's how you want to do it. Obviously, like if you're going to be like the digital only route, it does like that you're going to be paying $50 more out of pocket. But hey, if you want that disc drive later on, not just for games but also like 4K movies in stuff like that or whatever, because I use my fucking PS5 for 4K Blu-rays all the goddamn time, because I'm just like, I'm not buying a separate player for that, like people bought the PlayStation 2 for that DVD player because that was a game changer, and I'm doing the same shit with my PS5. So I think that this new model is like insane and really really cool, and the biggest thing about it is that this will be phasing out the current model. So once yes. So like once all of the current PlayStation 5s are sold out, this will be the only model in store. So like that's pretty cool. That's pretty insane. I'm sure that's the reason why they're not calling it a Slim. So, there's not like that, I guess like two different PlayStations, if you will, but they are calling it a new model in general. So yeah, pretty cool, especially if you haven't bought a PlayStation 5 yet, you could buy this one. Obviously, if you want to play Spider-Man, you're going to have to buy a regular PS5 now because this one is going to come out in November.
Okay, I actually did not know it was going to phase out the current PS5s. So, it looks good. I mean, I wouldn't buy it because I feel like it's not enough of an upgrade to really bother with it. It kind of feels like it's just kind of like a side grade, or like just like if you don't have a PS5 yet, it's really good for you.
Yep.
The design looks pretty nice. I couldn't really they really should have done a size comparison in like that trailer I watched, because I feel like they didn't. It just kind of showed them. I didn't know how much smaller it was, but 30% does seem like a pretty big deal, because that thing's a honker like behind you.
This shit is massive. You guys can't see it, but this shit is crazy.
The PS5 is like a really big console, so it's gonna be nice for it to be like of a smaller volume. And I feel like a lot of people get PlayStation consoles during this part of its lifespan anyway. I mean, I know I didn't get a PS2 till the Slim came out. I know a lot of people didn't get a PS3 until the Slim came out as well. So I don't know about a PS4. PS4 I just had regular, but I'm sure it also phased it. Usually this 3-year mark, is when people buy the next gen consoles anyway and stuff. And I think there's enough games now to kind of justify it being there. I know technically God of War is also on PS4, and I know technically Horizon 2 is on PS4 as well. But if you want the best experiences on PS5, Anyway, I do think it's good for newer owners of a PlayStation. But right now, I'm not gonna bother with it, because I'll probably just wait until either a PS5 Pro. Even then, I probably won't buy a PS5 Pro. I'll probably just wait until the PS6 comes out. But it's still good. It's still good for people that want it, and hopefully they actually have a good amount of stock this time, so anyone that wants it could get it. So yeah. With most of the pandemic sort of phasing out, and factories able to just produce shit a lot more, and especially because now we have Marvel Spider-Man 2, which is a exclusive to PlayStation 5. For them to come out with this model will be a hot seller for this holiday season, because a lot of kids are going to want that game, and parents are going to be like, well, you're going to have to wait till Christmas or whatever, so they're probably going to buy this new PlayStation console or the old one, whichever one that they can find, because once again, just like every single holiday day season ever since the PS5 has come out in 2020, the console is going to sell like hotcakes. So for them to come out with this new model to be like, hey, you know what? It's smaller. And if you can only find the digital edition, like I said, you just pay $80 and you get that disc drive. So you can play Blu-ray movies. You could play your old PS4 games that you have or whatever. So, there's a lot of things that you can do with this detachable disc drive that I think a lot of people are sort of underrating, because like I'm a fucking physical collector and I just love physical media. So for them to be like, hey, we're going to give you the option to add this disc drive on it is like crazy to me. Yeah, it's kind of weird I didn't have that to begin with, but I guess it was during the pandemic and like stuff was like go over the place. So I feel like most digital only consoles to have that now, because it seems like that's the route we're going now, and a lot of people do not like that. So I think having that option, if you like regret it later, or is the only version of it you could find, and you could just buy the disc drive, I think that's pretty nice as well. For me, I could go either way. Like usually for Nintendo consoles, I like physical because I think they just sell more if I ever need to do that at some point. For PlayStation stuff, I don't usually mind getting digital. But either way, great choice. Choice is always good. Really, pro consumer move there. So not bad. Yep. Not speaking of not pro consumer, and speaking of why I buy this shit physically, 3DS and Wii U Online Servers will be shutting down April 2024. So we already know the eShops are going down I think they're already down, actually.
Yes.
Never mind. The eShops are already down. They were down in March, and now next year they will also be shutting down the any online services, which really sucks. So, there's a lot of games that, had a lot of good online capabilities. People on Twitter bring up Xenoblade Chronicles X had a lot of really cool online compatibility stuff. All that's just going to be gone. Obviously, Splatoon 1 is going to be vaporware now. So that's kind of sad. Original Mario Kart 8 is gone. Smash 4 is going to be gone basically forever. Like that's sad.
No more For Glory.
Yeah, no more For Glory. The only one that's exempted from this is Pokemon, apparently. Apparently, Pokemon Bank will still be a thing for a little bit. But Pokemon Company was like, you should transfer your Pokemon now, though. So they're probably not going to extend it too much longer. Like maybe people are bringing it up as soon as all the Pokemon are available in the other generations. Like once all the Pokemon are available, they're probably going to start phasing out the 3DS stuff. But that's kind of a big deal because this is the only time, I think, since the original Game Boy to Game Boy Color Pokemon stuff that you can't transfer your Pokemon from like Gen 3 all the way to the newer gens. Like it's like this is going to be a giant cutoff, which is kind of crazy when that actually goes down. But right now, Pokemon Bank is still there, so you could transfer from Bank to Home, which is the Switch version of that. So yeah, that Pokemon stuff is still fine, but you still lose so much cool stuff for Pokemon wise as well. Kid Icarus, you also can't do shit with anymore, which sucks. So yeah, honestly, this shit just sucks. However, we've seen a lot of fans do really incredible things. For the DS, there's a lot of like private servers you could connect to on your DS or whatever, or 3DS, and you're able to connect to like private servers that have like a bunch of stuff you could do, like this private servers for Mario Kart and all this shit. So hopefully we could find a way to do that with the Wii U and 3DS at some point in the future. It might take a few years to happen.
Yeah.
But fans are crazy and they will do whatever it is to preserve this stuff. But yeah, hopefully this is the last time this is happening, which probably won't be,
Yes.
But I'm really hoping Nintendo just keeps the current Nintendo Switch account as the account for everything. Like all the stuff I have on my Switch account should transfer over to the Switch 2 and just keep doing it forever, like PlayStation has been doing or Xbox has been doing, because that's why I feel more comfortable to buy digital stuff on there as opposed to Nintendo, because look at this shit. Like now I can't like it's like impossible to do anything in that console anymore. So yeah, hopefully Nintendo can figure that shit out with the Switch and Switch 2. But either way, this really does suck because we're losing a lot of good shit. So that's very unfortunate.
Yeah, I think that this is the inevitable for most online things. For most online things within gaming, but I think Nintendo especially, they are really bad at sort of maintaining like a good online, I guess, like ecosystem, if you will.
Yeah.
And for them to just cut off 3DS and Wii U, it's understandable. Those consoles are so old at this point, and to those people that are still playing them, you know what? Good on you. I'm glad that you are still enjoying that stuff, but I feel like for a majority of those games, it's sort of just like desert wastelands. Not a lot of people are playing them anymore. So
yeah.
But I'm sure this will reignite, certain dedicated fans to, like you said, make those online servers, try to, reignite, people to come back into these games and play them in a different special way. So yeah, it just sucks that a lot of these games are not going to have online compatibility, and people that are going to play them in the future, such as Kid Icarus Uprising, they're never going to be able to experience the online play of that game. I still remember getting hand cramps playing the fucking online because I was just trying to win so bad, and also I'm left-handed, so it's even worse. So
yeah,
it just sucks that these games are not going to have online capabilities anymore. But it is what it is. I think that them shutting it down is just being like, all right, well, it's time to, pull the plug on these servers just because not a lot of people are active in them anymore.
Yeah, honestly, the Pokemon stuff really hurts because I'm like, damn, I can't really transfer shit. It's gonna be a lot harder to get everything you need. So that kind of sucks. I think I might transfer to my shit. I need to check again, but that's a lot of if you haven't transferred any of your Pokemon from Gen 3 to now, you should probably do that. I still have my Sceptile from when I was a kid. I have it on Pokemon Home now, which is cool, but it's gonna be sad that you can't do that anymore. So but yeah, that sucks. But Nintendo gonna be Nintendo, and they shut that shit down as soon as no one's using it anymore. So but yeah.
Yeah. Moving on from there, we got some big Hollywood news. So first up, we got the Hollywood Reporter, their article, Daredevil hits reset button as Marvel overhauls its TV business. So this was a big ass article that dropped yesterday, pretty much about how Daredevil, Born Again, the new MCU show, it is going to be 18 episodes in total. It was confirmed within this article that it's going to be 2 seasons, 9 episodes each. But they pretty much fired everyone. They let go of all the writers, the directors, and they're going to start from scratch because whatever footage that they had, the Marvel execs, including Kevin Feige, saw it and was like, yeah, no, this shit is not working. So just some of the key points is that first up, Daredevil doesn't suit up until episode 4. And I think that it was leaked as well that Foggy and Karen Page, or maybe just Foggy, just die within the first episode, which is why Matt Murdock isn't Daredevil for like the first 3 episodes or whatever. It worked much more like a lawyer show or whatever. So there was not enough action or violence compared to its Netflix counterpart. And what they're going to do now, including for this show, is that they're going to have the Marvel series be actual like TV series instead of just like limited run sort of things, and they're actually gonna have like a plan and sort of have these characters live within these TV shows instead of just having them be like, all right, we're done with like this 1 or 2 season thing and then just move on to the next. So just my comment here that I wrote within our notes, Marvel is recognizing the problem with their shows after the failure of Secret Invasion and are trying to work them as actual TV shows now instead of setting them up for the big crossovers.
Yeah, so it's like actually kind of insane. There was like no showrunners. Like that's fucking crazy. When I read that, I'm like, huh? What do you mean? Like they basically like had no plans for a lot of this shit, and like you know, like it said, they were like kind of shooting them on the fly, which is like crazy. I guess they were banking on people like, oh, it's Marvel, so people are gonna watch it anyway. So who cares? Like let's just put this and people will watch it and we make money. But that's obviously been backfiring a lot because you know
word of mouth.
A lot, yeah, word of mouth. People getting really upset with the MCU. Like people just thinking the show quality has been super down, which I agree with, you know, like, or even shows that could have been good or are good, like suffer a lot from like these problems. Like, you know, I think like Moon Knight had like a lot of potential and I do like it quite a bit, but you know, I think it would have been so much better if it had more of a vision and had more time and shit. I think some shows work as a limited series, but most of them kind of don't, and you kind of need more of that time. It's kind of why I'm really liking Loki. We're gonna talk about it, but you know, I feel like it has more time to breathe and explore its own world and rules and shit, and I feel like way more invested into it, just because I know it had like another season and shit, and we knew it was gonna have another season since season 1. So yeah, I feel like this is great, and I feel like this should happen a lot sooner. But I'm happy Marvel is starting to sort of come around with the idea and being like, okay, this clearly isn't working because this last phase that we had, like phase 4, has been like kind of a disaster. You know, like I'm sure when the Marvels comes out, like it's very projected to be like the lowest like money making Marvel movie they've ever made so far. So I guess we'll see when it actually comes out. But you know, they just been kind of in a slump, and I think you know, Daredevil being a big hit, I think if they really need that.
Yes.
So hopefully they are able to bring it back and like make it something that I think the fans would really enjoy, both, you know, newer fans and like fans of the, you know, Netflix show and stuff. So yeah, hopefully, you know, I just want Marvel to be in a better place because I still love it. You know, like Guardians 3 is still like fucking amazing. You know, I am enjoying this Loki season 2 right now as well. So they got good stuff in them. It's just like stop rushing things, stop making things limited only. You know, stop doing weird shit. Just, you know, just take your time. It's fine.
Actually have a plan. Like it is,
have a fucking plan, please.
It is actually just so crazy that like they just didn't hire showrunners, which are like pretty important for TV, and also just like shafting the writers in like such a big way where it's like the writing of these shows is why people come back, and the characters of these shows is why people come back. The reason why people are coming back to watch Daredevil Born Again potentially is because of Matt Murdock, Karen Page, and Foggy Nelson. Like all 3 of those characters, people love them within the Netflix show, and Daredevil isn't just about Daredevil. It's about those 2 other characters as well, because they really do ground Matt in a different way and sort of, you know, help him out also. You know, like it's not just a Daredevil show, like I said. So for them to kill off one of the sort of main characters within the Netflix show is like so crazy to me, and to like also do it off screen or whatever the fuck, you know, whatever that leak that I read on Twitter was, I was just like, okay, I'm glad that they're sort of just like reworking everything, because I hope that they're able to bring those actors back and they're able to breathe life into them again, because, you know, they are such a big part of the Netflix show. If you watched it, you know, but, you know, whatever this new version of the Daredevil show is, I hope it's good, because I had a really high hopes for it. So when I first saw them like fire everyone, I was like, ah, damn, that sucks. And then I read, oh, he doesn't suit up until episode 4. All right, great, good. Good thing that they fucking scrapped it, because that would have been really bad, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think there's the last thing people want. Like, they don't want this to be bad. And I'm glad they recognize that. I think this show is too important for that to happen. So I'm just happy that they're doing the fans right and they're doing the show right just by like delaying and resetting production, because it would have been a disaster. So yeah.
Yes, and I'm sure, I think somewhere within the article it says that they're gonna like retool some of these scenes as well. So like they're not gonna scrap everything, but they're gonna, you know, go through, you know, everything and be like, all right, can we keep this? Can we like use this still? You know, because obviously like they were filming before all of these strikes happened, so you know they do have a decent amount of footage and whatnot. You know. So yeah, but I just hope that in general, the Marvel sort of TV shows, especially after Secret Invasion, because Secret Invasion was like such a steaming pile of shit where it was just like they made fun of this sort of CGI fest of like the finales within She-Hulk, which She-Hulk was like actually like a pretty decent show. And then they just did it again within Secret Invasion, and people were just like, no, like what the fuck are you guys doing? Because it is just so crazy that they just made the joke and then they were like, all right, we're actually just gonna do it again, like unironically. So you know, whatever comes next within the MCU, whether it's the movies, these shows, I do hope that it does get better. I could see why a lot of people have lost investment into them, just because we don't have Captain America or Iron Man anymore. But you know, these new characters, they are interesting, they are a lot of fun, but we don't have anyone sort of as big as those characters once before.
Yep. So hopefully they do it right, because yeah, I think they need a W.
Desperately.
So I think we skipped these two.
Oh shit, we did. My apologies. So
we got two more news before we do Aquaman. So I guess I'll talk.
Like you're getting
start
excited
with this
over
one.
here.
Yeah. So Crunchyroll is going to be launching a 24/7 anime channel in US. So this is going to be on Amazon Freevee, which I think I've heard once in my life, and LG channels. So that's cool. And some of the animes they're going to have is going to be, I don't know if it's just going to be dubbed, because it just says it will include English dub. So I'm assuming it's going to have sub as well. I don't really know. But either way, it's going to have like Horimiya, it's going to have Psycho Pass, Code Geass. So you got some good shit in there. And you got Ranking of Kings. You have some other shit I haven't really heard of before.
Yeah, so don't worry about
it. Yeah, I was kind of like a fake weep, but I honestly I think that's fine. Like I think, you know, TV is basically like a dead medium at this point, because people just do streaming channels and services and stuff, and you can just watch whatever, right? But I do feel like TV kind of had a good role, being like, it's hard to explain, but if you're showing something for 24 hours, you know, 24 hours every week or whatever, someone could just turn on the channel, watch something, and be like, hey, that was pretty good. Even if you watch some out of context shit, if you watch like episode like 300 of One Piece, I'm like, oh, that looks pretty good. Maybe I should watch it from the beginning. And then there you go, you got like a new fan and a new viewer and shit. You know, that's how we were when we were younger. Like we watched like some out of context show and just be like, oh, that was pretty good. And then maybe we'll try to seek it out somewhere and just watch the whole thing. Obviously now it's easier to do that. Back then we had to like go on YouTube and look for like part 3, like fucking Naruto, fucking shit like that. There's some shady websites, but you know, I think that's always a good thing to have that. You know, I think that's what the real power of TV was to do stuff like that, and I think it still has kind of a place in modern society. Obviously, like, you know, it's just like not as relevant, but you know, I don't know. I think it'd still be kind of cool for these channels to exist, and it's cool that Crunchyroll is doing this with you know, like a new anime channel. So that's nice.
Yeah, you know, for them to use that Sony money and sort of their popularity as probably the biggest US streaming anime sort of subscription service is like, all right, yeah, we'll just launch a TV network, which may seem ass backwards, but you know, like you said, back in the day, people didn't watch things in order. And if you did, you really were just like jobless and just like, you know, following something endlessly. And you were able to catch those commercials where it was like, oh, yeah, okay, so like a new episode is going to come out on this day or whatever. Because the internet has really changed everything when it comes to media in general, because people want things on demand. People want to watch things when they want to watch it. They don't want to, you know, be stuck to like a sort of schedule or whatever. So, and the library that Crunchyroll has chosen here, there's a little bit of something for everyone. It is definitely like a lot of, I guess, like lesser known titles, something I would say much more akin to like anime fans and not just like general audiences. We don't got like Dragon Ball or, Naruto in here, but, we do have some good stuff. If you want slice of life, that's what Horimiya is. If you want some a little more action based, I think that's what Code Geass is. Ranking of Kings also has some action in it, but it's also like a drama in a sense as well. So, there's a little bit of something for everyone here. And obviously, it's not something that you would recognize off the bat.
Sorry, big thunder outside.
Oh, okay. Don't worry about it. But yeah, Crunchyroll doing this 24-hour channel, I think is great. And I think that this will, potentially be a gateway for some people to get into anime. But then again, if this thing does fail, I wouldn't be that surprised of it just because, like I said, people want convenience. People want to just binge watch a show on Netflix, episode to episode, not have to worry about, waiting next week or whatever. So yeah,
Yeah, I also guess it's hard because, I feel like a lot of animes obviously like, that's not entirely true, but most animes are like not episodic. Like most of them are like very like they're serialized. Like you want to watch it from episode one. Obviously with slice of life stuff, you could probably just watch any episode and you'll be fine. But a lot like Code Geass, you probably don't want to watch like episode like 30 or some shit because you're probably gonna be like, what happened here? So but again, I still think it's cool to maybe catch someone's interest and be like, "Ooh, that looks cool. Maybe I should watch it from the beginning and shit." So, I feel like TV, that's kind of what TV was built for and stuff.
Or obviously, just like a wild idea I just came up in my head is like have this shit on at like I guess like a doctor's office or something like that. Like this is like one of those channels that you could just like put on randomly and just like have it on in the background because why not? Because you can do that.
Yeah, but yeah, I think it's a good idea. We'll see how long it lasts. Probably not too long, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah, and for them to be English dub, I think is great, just because that is like a barrier for some people where it's I don't want to read. It's like, all right, fine, be a baby, don't read. So here's a fucking English dub of these anime. So
yeah, and I'm sure like most people got into anime because of dub. Like I was a dub enjoyer for a very long time. Now I could do either or. Like it doesn't really matter too much to me.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, for a lot of people, sub will always be such a big barrier of entry, and I think dubs, and most modern dubs are fine now.
Yes.
So like it's like it doesn't really matter. Yeah, that's why I said most. Yeah, so like most are pretty okay at this point. Like it's fine. So like let people enjoy anime the way they want. Always love the sub. Whatever. I'm not getting into that. But dub is fine for people that want to get into anime, even if you just want to watch it. Like sometimes I'm lazy. I don't want to read shit either. So yeah, but yeah.
All right, so because I jumped the gun, we're going to go back and talk about Disney is looking to purchase EA from what it looks like. It looks like Disney is just trying to buy a video game company, and it looks like EA is on the chopping block for that just because, they worked on the Star Wars property, and, they did so well with the Star Wars Jedi series so far, and for them to be like, hey, you know what, we're going to give you even more fucking money to just work on these games, and also we're going to get money from all of the Maddens, the sort of FIFA games and stuff like that, so... Yeah, I think that Disney getting, their hand into the gaming pool, I think makes sense just because they are so big. They have a lot of money. They can do whatever they really want within entertainment. And if EA is the first step, sure. Some people may say that that's just two evil companies working together, but you know what? It is what it is. So whichever move Disney decides to do, we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, the mouse, they do what they want. But it's pretty interesting to see them reinvest into gaming because they went really hard into gaming when Epic Mickey came out. Like, they put a shit ton of money into that game. They made like a whole studio for it. And then Epic Mickey 1 did like okay. And then the second one did really bad. And then it just stopped. And then they were just like, okay, we're not going to worry about that anymore. But it seems like they are pretty interested in continuing this video game thing because, they've just been kind of giving out their license, but it haven't really been that like hardcore into it until like the last few years, I feel. Like obviously with the Star Wars games, like have been pretty good. Like, Jedi Survivor, had issues, but it was a really good game. And, the Marvel stuff is kind of mixed in terms of sales and stuff, but I think most of the games are pretty good. Like, obviously Avengers wasn't, but like Marvel's Midnight Suns was pretty good, and I thought Guardians of the Galaxy was really good as well. So if they could invest more money into these stuff, like maybe they could we have something here. We probably shouldn't like let it just like sit there. It's like money on the table and stuff. Also with like they've been doing stuff with their Disney IPs too, like with Disney Dreamlight Valley, like that Animal Crossing Disney game that people were loving, like I think last year, like that one was doing really well. They made that knockoff Mario Kart, which I don't think is doing well, but people really like the Animal Crossing one. So like they have things there. So they also did the Illusion Island as well.
Island,
so yeah, so like all these games have been like kind of been doing well. So Disney probably sees this and like, video games are such a big moneymaker, so let's go for it. So that could either be a good thing or a bad thing, because it could be we could be getting like more Disney games, which sounds pretty fun, but it could also mean like they could just be like monetize the shit and like not fun. So I guess we'll see. Because, Disney. You know how Disney is. So, yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, they also do pull the plug kind of early on a lot of things. I mean, do you remember true. Disney Infinity? Like the moment Toys to Life stuff just stopped being popular, they were like, all right, we're done. And I was like, okay, but people did get a lot of cool, like, little Disney figures. I still look at them on eBay every now and then for the Spider-Man ones in particular. But, yeah, they've had their hand within gaming, before. It has never been on this scale where they're just outright buying a company. Something as long as EA is going to be kind of crazy if it actually does happen and does go through, because that just means we're going to see I guess more funding for these games that are already doing well year after year. And if EA wants to do some other stuff, whether it's with Apex or even with the Star Wars Jedi series, or even make more stuff with that as well. And I think also with the whole Black Panther game that they're working on with EA as well, they could pump more money into that directly as well. So yeah, it's just like a endless cycle of things that they're just working on with EA, before this deal even goes through, or even if it goes through at all.
Yeah, it is funny how, the Star Wars license was basically freed from EA, but now it's like, I guess it's going to stay there because he's going to buy it. So much for that, I guess. But hey, at least Respawn's been pretty good with the Star Wars stuff, so that's good. But yeah, I guess we'll see how that turns out at some point. Hopefully not bad, but it's Disney, so we'll see. They could go either way.
Yep.
All right. So last news we have here, we got some drama with Aquaman 2. So yeah, there's been a lot of stuff going on. Last time I mentioned Amber Heard, but yeah, she seems to be a pretty big, drama magnet here. So yeah, we have 3 points we have here is Jason Momoa, Aquaman. He came on the set drunk just as Johnny Depp and wanted Heard off the project, which, fair. She's not the best person. Elon Musk also wrote a letter to Warner Brothers threatening to burn the house down if Heard didn't return, because they're like together, which I didn't even know. I'm like, okay.
I think they're exes now, but
they're exes, right?
At one point.
Dude, the only time I knew that.
Overwatch.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. I'm like, when they were together.
Yeah.
But anyway, none of the past Justice League actors will return in Gunn's DCU, so we got another confirmation on that. So, so yes, this includes Gal Gadot. She's not gonna be back. So, yeah, that's. We brought this up so many times, and I feel like this always keeps bringing up. No one's gonna come back unless they were part of James Gunn's like universe before. So like Blue Beetle would be there, Peacemaker would be there, and I actually don't know if I think the Suicide Squad would be there. I actually don't know, but I feel like if it was the right part of James Gunn's like mind, it probably will be in the new DCU. But I feel like anything before that probably won't be. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just Aquaman 2 in and of itself. I mean, we literally got the trailer last episode, which like the movie comes out this December or something like that. So, and then apparently early screenings for it, people literally walked out of it because it was just that bad. I hope that's not true, just because I actually did like the first Aquaman. I think I saw it in theaters twice. I can't remember. That was when I was in like my super like high like movie pass days where like I'm just going to see a new movie every single day or whatever. So, but yeah, I mean, with the whole drama and everything that's going on, it was very surprising to see Amber Heard return, just because there was a lot of stuff going on between that case between her and Johnny Depp, and for Jason Momoa to do all that stuff. I mean, whether it happened or not, low sussy. I'm inclined to believe that it's a he says she says situation, and I believe Jason Momoa's team pretty much said that didn't happen, or they declined to comment, and a DC spokesperson was just like, he conducted himself in a professional manner, etc., etc. So like I said, he said she said situation, but just to have Elon Musk in there is just even funnier, because it's just like, what the fuck? Why is he like part of this story? But he is. I mean, he's
simping.
That was the only time that I knew about their relationship, because I was just like, wait, they dated? And then it was like, yeah, the Overwatch cosplay. And then I don't know why, but he just like tweeted it out. I was like, why the fuck is he posting this like for everyone to see?
It's actually insane that actually happened. I'm like, what the fuck kind of timeline am I in? Because he was saying that stuff. I'm like, okay, sure. And then he actually showed a picture. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, how? Well, whatever.
What an actual psychopath. psychotic maniac. But
Yeah.
you know, Aquaman 2, I mean, it's going to be the last movie, part of the Snyderverse, if you will. And everything else after that will just be new part of the DCU under James Gunn's mind and sort of his brain and sort of his ideologies of what he thinks that the sort of cinematic universe should go in. But yeah, you know, this is just some crazy drama, some weird stuff that was going on. But yeah, and Jason Momoa is in talks to return as a Superman villain or something like that. I think it's Lobo or something like that. So he could be returning, but not as Aquaman.
Okay, I see. That's interesting, actually.
All right, so we will move on from there. We are now going to talk about Ahsoka Season 1 and the Episode 8 finale. So yeah, full spoilers as always when we talk about these shows or whatever. So yeah, you know, just quickly as a person who has pretty much watched everything Ahsoka has been in except for Rebels, you know, I can say that this show delivered more than I would have expected, just because it was doing a lot of weird things, just like meshing in like the live action Star Wars stuff that we already know into the show and sort of not making it animated sort of turned me off. But you know, what we got in the end with its live action budget, you know what? I'm fine with it. I think that this is a very enjoyable show, and I think anyone could really jump into this and sort of get a general understanding of what's going on, as Damian will voice his opinion on that because he has not watched anything Clone Wars related.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Like, I think to do a good enough job explaining like all the things you need to know, and you kind of just follow along pretty well. Obviously, if you watch Rebels or Clone Wars, you probably have like a deeper attachment to these things. But I'm sure, like, you know, the Ahsoka and Anakin stuff still kind of, you know, hit hard because, like, you know, it's Anakin. So like I feel like that stuff is still gonna resonate with a lot of people. And again, with the Rebel characters, it's like, yeah, you get it. Like, you know, it's not like that complicated of a thing. Or just some more lore stuff like Dathomir and stuff. Like, but I already know about that stuff, so like that wasn't like too big of a deal for me. Even though they go more into it in Rebels and stuff or Clone Wars or whatever. But yeah, I thought it was pretty good over. I actually didn't know it was supposed to be. Is it supposed to be multiple seasons or?
I have no idea. I mean, as of right now, I don't think there's a season 2 confirmed right now because, you know, we're still within the, I guess, like Disney verse of like everything being a limited series. So yeah, you know, I mean, like for this being like a one-off season, I think that it managed to stick its landing for what it is. I mean, I think it's also just because Dave Filoni is like behind writing every single episode. So, you know, the show is really able to feel like the Clone Wars, but just within live action.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't like. I thought I thought they were just gonna kill Thrawn. Like, I actually didn't know he was gonna like leave. So I guess they're gonna be setting up things for later, like. Because I know he has his, like, he's basically making his own universe at this point. Like, you know, I'm sure we're going to get a show where it's like, oh, Mandalorian and the fucking Ahsoka and everyone is here. And then they'll have fight Thrawn or something. That's probably what's going to end up happening, I guess. But I don't know. I was just kind of shocked to be like, oh, okay, they didn't kill him. And they're just kind of stuck on that planet. So with the two Siths. So that sounds like it could be a cool, like, thing. Again, I don't know if they're going to do a season 2, if it's going to be a whole new show. But I feel like... that's a pretty interesting way to leave things off because it just leaves like a lot of cool like things you could do there. Like probably those two Sith people are gonna end up being good guys, I would imagine, or something like that. But yeah, I do think it leaves the room open for a lot more interesting stories. I really thought everything was just gonna end a little like happy and just like, all right, that's it. But I'm like, oh, okay, that's pretty surprising that everything didn't end up like exactly how they wanted to. So yeah, that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, I think that, you know, this finale had a lot of cool things. I mean, you know, it pretty much opens up with Ezra making his new lightsaber because obviously he's not going to go in there with just the Force like before. Yeah. Obviously, this is some real shit. But, you know, like the character moments between all three of them with Ezra, Sabine, and Ahsoka, you know, is just so much fun. And just seeing these characters sort of interact, and also the action sequences, you know, they are kind of stiff and they are kind of just like, you know, standing there. There's not a lot of movement with the camera or whatever.
I saw it brought up on Twitter. I think the only time it looks kind of bad is when they were fighting the zombies, like the deflecting. Like I saw that on Twitter a lot. Like, that did look kind of bad. But I think the actual fight scenes towards the last like half of the episode were pretty good. Like I had no issues with that. And Ezra was like going in, like he was his lightsaber stuff looked good. Like he was fighting for his life. So,
yeah, I mean, just introducing, I guess, like the zombie stormtrooper aspect was very cool. You know, obviously, like we've seen zombies within other media idea, but I think that for them to do it with the Dathomir witches and sort of all that stuff was pretty awesome, honestly. For them to be like, we got through them, and then it's like, now they're back, but they're not really alive, so and they're just kind of getting overwhelmed and shit like that. So yeah, I think that this episode was just a lot of fun, and once again, the ending, like you said, I think that for them to end it like that, I kind of expected that to happen, because I was just like, Thrawn is such a big villain that they've been hyping up that I'm just like, he's gonna win, like he's gonna escape, and then something else is gonna happen, which is exactly what happened, where Ezra was on the ship, he escaped, and now he just sort of let the others know that, hey, you know what, I'm fucking here, and now they're stuck on that planet, so they kind of just swap places, and for them to just be stuck on that planet, and now Thrawn can do whatever the fuck he wants, is just like, okay, yeah, now this is going to be a potential exciting season 2 or whatever else they decide to do within this sort of Disney Star Wars universe. I think that it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool to see what Thrawn sort of does for like the overarching plot, I guess, like because he's like sort of like a big threat and stuff. And I always forget, like these take place like before the sequels, right? Like this is like right before the sequel. So I'm wondering if they're gonna sort of like incorporate him to like the First Order shit. Like, I don't know a lot about the sequels besides like First Order, and like Snoke is a thing, but I know he just dies because he's like lame. So I don't know if they're gonna try like sort of fix the sequels like that, but that would be kind of cool to give it more depth if they do that, because I feel like with Mandalorian and even this show, they've been hinting at like the Republic isn't all good, and like something's gonna happen if you don't do anything like that. So I think it's pretty cool how they're like sort of setting up and stuff, because the Clone Wars kind of got the same treatment where like the movies were like bad, but like all the extended media was like pretty good and like really fleshed out the Clone Wars to be this really cool era in Star Wars. Yeah. So I'm hoping it's kind of the same thing with this, like after the original trilogy stuff, like we get these, like we're getting like a lot of cool sort of things, and like how things are moving around after the Empire died, and how the Republic is, sort of coming into power and like trying to make things right or whatever. So, I don't know if that's what we're going to get after this show or whatever, but it's going to be pretty interesting to see what happens with like just Thrawn and all that, and how Ahsoka and Sabine are going to get back into the show. What happened to the other two? There's a lot of cool like questions to be asked and stuff. So honestly, I thought it was really good. It was a good finale. I thought the show did a pretty good job, just like sort of catching people up that didn't know anything about like these characters. I think it was like pretty easy to follow. For the most part, I thought the action was pretty good. I've seen some of the last lightsaber stuff were a bit stiff, but I think some of the fights against like the actual like opponents looked pretty good. So overall, I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Yeah, that's what I was saying the entire episode. I was like, where the fuck is Balin and Shin? Like, we've gone through this whole episode and we haven't seen them.
I forgot about them until like they showed them. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm assuming they're going to leave Balin off on his own thing, because rest in peace, Ray Stevenson.
Yeah.
But, whatever they decide to do with Shin, whether she comes back or not, is, up to them. But, they had a very interesting story arc, and I think that for them to be in the show and sort of be like a force for them to, sort of get past, I think was a lot of fun. But yeah, and obviously we got one more Hayden Christensen Anakin fucking cameo of him as like a Force ghost or whatever, and people were just like, why is he a Force ghost? Well, yeah, I'm like, I don't give a fuck, he was there. He's there for the sake of having another cameo, and I'm like, you know what, that's fine. That's fine.
They got all the juice squeezed out.
Pretty much.
Gotta get you.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure from episode 4 onward, he's in at least one scene every single time, which is fine, just because people love Hayden Christensen as Anakin, and seeing him within the Clone Wars outfit and all of that fan service stuff is fine, because that's what Star Wars is about. It's about having fun. It's about celebrating these characters, and I think that this show does that tastefully, just because Dave Filoni is behind the script and also behind the camera for some of the episodes. He was able to pretty much bring another sort of saga for these characters to life once again, and you know what, good job.
Yeah, I mean, I think most of the fan service was pretty understandable in the show. Like, it wasn't like too like egregious or whatever. So overall I thought the show was pretty good. I'm excited to see what they do next, either like a new show or movie, because Star Wars has just been in the show train for a while, and I don't know, I keep hearing rumors like, oh, they're gonna do a new movie, I don't fucking know. So it'll be interesting to see what they do for the next movie. Like, I don't know if the next movie is gonna be like, you have to watch all these shows to get it, because it's gonna be like leading up to a big thing, or what, like he's just MCUing the Star Wars stuff. I don't know, but it's gonna be interesting because I think Star Wars had a lot better run on shows than Marvel has had. Some of them are kind of just mid. Like Obi-Wan was kind of disappointing for the most part, but I think the rest of them have been pretty good, or have been decent at most. Obviously Andor is like the big standout for a lot of people. So
yes, surprisingly.
Surprisingly, I expected nothing from that show. And I'm like, oh, why is this good? So yeah, but yeah, so far pretty good. I enjoyed it.
All right, so now we're going to talk about another Disney Plus show. We're always going to be one episode behind, unfortunately, guys, just because we record the morning of Thursday and the episodes come out at 9 p.m. at night. So, yeah, we're only going to be talking about the premiere of Season 2 for Loki for now. Next episode, we will talk about the other two afterwards. But, yeah, once again, spoilers. And, it feels great to, watch a MCU show that is actually, like, pretty good just because, this first episode really does set everything up. It really does set up Kang, and unfortunately, we could see why Disney was waiting so long to see what was going to happen with the Jonathan Major sort of case, just because he's literally plastered all over this fucking show. Like his face is literally everywhere, even though he isn't in the show within this first episode. Like he is on like the iconography, the sort of murals, like they were really invested into his version of Kang. So for him to, just be within straight up first episode, we just see like a fucking statue of him and everything. I'm just like, all right, yeah, this is what we're doing, I forget what his name is within this show, the one who shall remain or whatever.
The one who remains or something.
So, for them to just, have Loki just like go back and forth between these two versions of, I guess, like this world is kind of interesting. Obviously, with the whole multiverse stuff, it's always going to be confusing at first. But, once they start explaining it and everything like that, I think it makes a lot more sense.
Yeah. Yeah, so I was like confused. First is great, but first I was confused. So I also thought it was like a multiverse thing, but no, it was just the past because this is still like timeline like stuff, right?
Yeah.
So it's like weird because now everything is branching out because that's sort of like the big issue or not issue. It's weird. But yeah, because they're making the multiverse like right now, basically. So him like time slipping into the past is interesting because it showed that the TVA was a thing made by Kang, and like him purging all the other timelines was because he wants to keep all the other Kangs under control, so he could be the one obviously who remains, like that's his name, so he could be like the only Kang in power and stuff. And obviously when the sequence of the end of season 1 happened, and they made all the branching timelines and stuff, not all the other Kangs are coming and stuff, and it's like bad and stuff, but it's cool to get that sort of like revelation and stuff and see. I just like how it just picks up straight from season 1. It's just like, oh yeah, all this shit is still happening and stuff. So, and yeah, I don't know. I just really like the lore and like sort of world building of the TVA. Like it's really thought out, which is cool. I feel like Marvel a lot of the time kind of like relies a lot on its like, I guess, overextending world building to really make it like feel fleshed out. But I feel like this show, I don't want to say it feels like Andor or anything, but it does. It feels a lot different from other MCU shows, and like it just feels like I could just watch this as like a show without really knowing as much about the MCU as other shows in the series. Or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just because, I think all the TVA stuff is just super cool. How they explain all the time stuff is really neat, and it just feels really thought out. And even though Kang isn't even in the show, like he still feels like this threatening aura around it, and I think that's great. I think. I think him appearing in Ant-Man did him a lot of disservice because he has some really threatening lines and stuff in Ant-Man, and like his performance was good, but him being beaten by a bunch of ants was so fucking lame. So this really brought back to be like, oh yeah, he's like an actual threat I should worry about. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
Just the fact that he isn't in the episode itself, but Loki's fucking scared to shit. He's just like, holy fuck. Like, we are so screwed in terms of like what's about to happen. And for them to try to, figure it out once again, sort of, understand that he's slipping to the past and everything like that. And, he's trying to, stay in one spot. And then they go through that whole thing where they meet Ki-Hugh Kwan's character. I hope I fucking pronounce his name right. He's making a resurgence within Hollywood thanks to his amazing performance within Everything Everywhere all at Once. So for him to be in this show is great, awesome. And for him to also be part of that like sort of time slipping stuff where it's like, oh, I don't know you, and then it's like, oh, I am like now remembering him as he's talking to Morbius. I was like, that is such like a fun way to show that he is time slipping into the past, and now that he's talking to him, it's sort of going back to Morbius before he jumps back to there, because he's just time slipping constantly.
Yeah, I think like how to do time stuff is like, it's like really cool. I always thought it was cool in the original season as well, like season 1. But the way that we're doing it in this one was like really cool because like, yeah, it's like some fucking crack in time shit. Like, you know, it's like when he kind of busted in the beginning of the episode, it's like, was that crack always there? It's like, yeah, because like that was when Loki did that shit, like when he crashed into the thing. So I mean, it's really cool that like all this stuff is sort of reflecting into the future and stuff with his time slipping stuff. Obviously, I don't know if they're gonna keep doing it because like apparently it's fixed now. You know, by the end of the episode, we don't really know yet. But that was a really cool thing how they were playing with time and stuff. And it's also cool to see the other TVA politics and stuff, like them being all variants and how they were like basically put there against their will and stuff. And like, you know, purging timelines is like bad because you're basically like killing like whole worlds and stuff. So I feel like all that stuff is like super interesting. And then at the end, you know, we see Sylvie and McDonald's. So you know, the whole fucking now it makes sense with the stupid fucking McDonald's meal thing.
Yeah,
the Loki thing. And seeing what she's up to, which we don't really know yet. But yeah, I just think this was a great like season premiere. I think it really shows like everything that was happening right after season 1. Got a lot of good like suspenseful stuff in there. Got some good like sort of like, you know, him going through the whole like time bloom thing. Like that was really cool to see.
That was so intense. Oh my god, bro.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit, is Morbius gonna die? I was like, fuck.
So yeah, I thought all that stuff was like super good. Just a great series premiere. Like it was really good. So hopefully the rest of it is just as good. Please.
Yeah, and you know, I guess the scene that we saw right before, you know, we see Sylvie and sort of what she's up to. We see pretty much everyone at the TVA just like suited up, going after her. I was like, hey, isn't that serious? It's like, what the fuck's going on? But yeah, you know, this season is hopefully going to deliver. Obviously, it is just the first episode, and the fact that it is so good is obviously different for a lot of MCU shows. I mean, you know, I could name a handful of really good season premieres for the MCU, like Miss Marvel. I think Miss Marvel had a fantastic episode 1, but you know, for Loki season 2, I cannot wait to see what else we get because, you know, it seems like that, you know, like you said, the world building and everything that this show has is sort of self-contained. And I feel like a lot of the other MCU shows rely on just the characters, you know, obviously like I said, with Miss Marvel, you know, it does do some world building in there with like sort of the origins of her powers and like her family and sort of like that dynamic. But I feel like with this one, you know, it's so fleshed out, you know, like the whole TVA and everything. And apparently it's supposed to play into Deadpool 3 and other MCU stuff. So that's going to be very interesting to see on how that plays out, if at all. But yeah, you know, Loki season 2 has been so far so good. Obviously, we're only one episode in.
Yeah, I don't want to jinx it because like I really like the season 3 is really good, and I really like season 1 of Loki. So I really, really hope they deliver it because having another bad MCU show finale would like be annoying. So please don't. So yeah.
All right, so we're gonna get into the last part of the show. I don't know how fucking long we're gonna go on for this one, but Sonic Frontiers, the Final Horizon update. We were talking about it last episode, how it's gonna be so good, you know, like it's gonna be amazing, fantastic. And then it came out, and I have a very differing opinion from, I think, a majority of the community. You know, I was on Twitter, and I was looking on, you know, sort of people's threads and them being like, this is like the best Sonic update ever. Like, this makes Sonic Frontiers one of the GOATs or whatever. And, you know, I'm in the camp that really thinks that this update really hinders Sonic Frontiers and sort of not what the game is really meant to be in my eyes. So obviously I did a full like game review on it. I did a 13-minute video on it, which is almost as long as the base game review that I did for my channel. But yeah, just like everything that the game did, we're obviously going to talk about spoilers as well. I mean, if you haven't been spoiled by the story by now, you're very lucky because it's pretty much all over Sonic Twitter. But yeah, I feel like everything from the gameplay, you know, the story stuff is nice. It's not necessarily my cup of tea, but I can recognize why people really do like the new endings and whatnot. But the gameplay stuff is just so bad that I just cannot like oversee like the good stuff, you know?
Yeah. So I guess I'll talk about my experience first. I think I have a really different experience from like a lot of other people. So, you know, I didn't have time to really play it when it came out, thank God. So I was looking on Twitter and just seeing the shit show. But I was also getting a lot of tips. I was getting a lot of tips, what to do, what not to do, and all that shit. So I put the game on fucking easy. I was not dealing with any of that shit. So I put the game on easy. I read almost every tip. I knew how to do the snake trial. I knew how to do the towers. I knew everything. So when I started playing the game, I kind of had a good time because I kind of did not struggle really that much because I kind of knew exactly what to expect and like how bullshit it would have been if I wasn't doing that stuff. So I ended up having a pretty decently easy time. Obviously, the master trial is just gonna suck regardless. Like, it still took me an hour to do it.
Yeah.
But after some time and the parry window being pretty generous on easy, it wasn't like too bad. So yeah, I ended up having a pretty fun time. Like, I actually didn't mind it. It doesn't really change or hinder my experience of Frontiers all that much. Like, I still think it's like pretty good.
Yeah, same.
But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Like, without getting too specific on things yet. But I don't know. What and your overall thoughts are obviously a lot more negative, just because you went in there like when it came out, right?
Yeah,
like,
I went into it like literally the night when it came out. And I was struggling playing as Amy. I was like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? And I was like, oh, I'm supposed to find the pink Cocos and not like the red and yellow ones. So I'm like, oh yeah, fucking. There's two other characters I'm going to be playing as, and they're red and yellow. I'm like, I'm fucking stupid. But obviously, like, a lot of the update comes down to just, like, knowing what to do. Because, like, now that I look back on it, I'm like, okay, yeah, like, if I were to play the update now, it would only take me, like, a few hours to, like, really get through everything. Because I know how to do everything. But when I first played, it took me, like, fucking 10 hours to, like, get through everything. Because, like, I had no idea how to do, like, half the shit. When I was playing, the final boss, Kofi was watching me. He was like, why the fuck can you hit the head, but not, like, the purple cord, yeah, you have to dodge first. I was like, yo, what the fuck? I was like, this shit that was so stupid, because like I was literally stuck on that thing for like an hour, maybe two, because it was just like, how am I not targeting the fucking cord? Because at one point it randomly did target it, and I was like, okay, what the fuck did I do to like get it to target again? And then it was like, oh, you just have to dodge with the R1 or L1 or whatever, and then it just does it for you. I'm like, then why not just have it target the cord to begin with? Like, there's just so many just like design things, and I'm just like, this makes no fucking sense, like, at all.
Yeah, because I feel like this DLC asks you to do a lot of things you wouldn't normally do in the base game.
Yeah,
because they made it harder, right? Like, target switching was never a thing in the base game, and then this game all of a sudden asks you to target change, and like the game has never told you to do that before. Same thing with pairing. You know, perfect pairing is like a big thing in this DLC for some reason, and the game is just not built for that. Like, the game is not like, it's fun to fight things, I guess, but the game isn't really like, it's not fucking DMC, right? Like, you ain't gonna get like really crisp combat or anything. So being able to do these perfect like parries and shit in like a 1 second window, it's like the game just wasn't built for that, because the enemy tells aren't like that great or whatever.
Yes.
Or like sometimes the hitboxes feel like they come out way sooner than they should, or after, or whatever. It's kind of a mess, because the game, there was a reason why you could just hold the parry button, because you knew it was kind of bad, and then it's like, okay, now you have parry for real. So, yeah, I definitely feel like the game asks you to do things that you wouldn't normally do in the base game, and the game just clearly wasn't built for any of that stuff, which is why I feel like a lot of frustrations were starting to happen, because, you know, they wanted to make the game harder, but ended up being just more janky than anything, you know?
Yeah, it was just such a chore to like get through everything for me personally. I was just like, man, like, I'm like looking shit up. Like, I'm like, okay, like I'm watching like this guy's like YouTube like live stream, like, okay, how the fuck did he get through this? Or like I'm like looking up videos like Sonic Frontiers, Snake's Trial or whatever. I'm just like, how do you like hit these enemies with the shells like quick enough? Oh, you have to stomp on them. Okay, so then I'm like stomping on pretty much every single enemy after that, including that master trial or whatever. I was just like, okay, so like the stomp just does a lot of damage. For some reason, I didn't know that. And the reason why the difficulty is so hard is because they literally put these like, you know, conditions on you where it's like, okay, you only get 400 rings, you can't get any more rings, and
all your stats are one.
Yep, all your stats are one, and you have to do it within one shot. Good luck, have fun. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, this shit is like crazy. But what did you like about the DLC? Because I'm curious.
So like I feel like I not a lot really like changed. Like I you know, my favorite thing about Frontiers, this is actually where most of my playtime went. I also put like 8 hours into this, but that wasn't because I was like dying a lot. It was mostly because I was just exploring, which is like my favorite thing about Frontiers, right? So I guess we could talk about the other characters, because it kind of ties into this. You know, I think all the characters, if you don't get the upgrades, fucking suck. Like they're really bad to play if you don't have any of their abilities, which was dumb. Like, I feel like you shouldn't have been able. They should have had all their abilities to begin with, so they were actually fun to play as. But after exploring the island and just getting all their skill trees and stuff, because I did that, I maxed all the skill trees because I was really curious to see how they would play as. And they were honestly really fun once you did that. Like, I'm like, okay, they actually they aren't too bad once you upgrade all their shit. Knuckles is still sus, but Amy is pretty fun. Her like triple jump is really awkward because it goes way higher than the should go.
Yeah.
And it feels weird, but like I feel like her float and stuff, like she's fine. Like, she's kind of boring, but like she's fine. Tails is super fun.
Vanilla.
Yeah, she's very vanilla. Like, yeah, she's just very like plain. Like there's not a lot to her. I feel like she should have more hammer stuff incorporated into her. Like if she had her Adventure 1 thing where she could do like the triple jump with the hammer, I think that would have been a lot more fun to do. Like I don't really get the card thing. Like I know it's a part of her lore now or whatever, but like it's just kind of lame. I'm not a big fan of like the card shit.
If I'm being honest, now that I think about it, if we did have like that triple hammer jump, it would have been so fucking bad with the like hilly terrain of like Sonic Frontiers.
Yeah,
I'm like,
that's probably why they did it. Yeah. Now that I think about it, you know, Tails, like once you get all his upgrades, like unlocking the Cyclone, like
oh my god, yes,
that's fun as shit. You're supposed to do the laser from SA2, so that's really fun. Like I thought Tails was super fun to play as, and even Knuckles, like when you unlock all his shit, he's pretty fun, but he is definitely the most janky. I abused the shit out of his. He's like he has an infinite jump.
Oh yeah, the infinite. Yeah, I did that shit too.
Yeah, so I abused the shit out of that, so I didn't do like anything legit with him. His super glide is really fun because he goes super far. You just like don't lose height that much. His wall climb is really bad though, like because you can only climb on the parkour things that Sonic could climb on. So like when it feels so wrong to be against a fucking mountain and I can't climb as Knuckles. I'm like, why can I not climb as Knuckles? So I think they were all okay once you unlock all their abilities, but still not great. Like their adventure counterparts are still way better than these variants of them. Also combat wise they're just shit. Like just do not use them for combat.
You did not finish a boss with all of the upgrades, right?
No,
okay.
I did not.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Because I said in my review, I was like, you can't fucking fight these bosses. And dead ass, I was just like, even if I upgrade everything, I'm pretty sure it's the same thing because I'm just like, I'm trying to like homing attack as Amy. I'm like, she doesn't homing attack. I can't do that as Knuckles. I can't do it as Tails. I'm like, so how the fuck am I supposed to beat these bosses? You don't. You literally just don't. You literally just run around, just play as them. That's it. And I'm like, okay, I guess. I mean, I would just take it for what it is, you know? They're like fine versions of these characters for like what Frontiers is, but it's definitely like not ideal for like their 15-year return, if you will.
Yeah, so I basically had more fun just kind of breaking the game with all their abilities, like movement abilities anyway.
Yes.
Because once you get all their movement abilities, I had a lot of fun just clearing out the map and stuff. Like that's kind of where all my enjoyment came from, was doing that. And I ended up like kind of having a good time with them. Again, I think Amy was the lamest. Like I think like at least Knuckles and Tails, you kind of just like break the whole fucking map by like flying everywhere, and that's fun. But Amy was kind of lame. But yeah, like you said, combat it was just bad. Even with Tails' like giant laser, like it's just like not enough. Like Sonic was made for the combat, not anyone else. So that kind of sucks. And then you have like the trials. So you have like the also I should preface this by saying I didn't have to do a single cyberspace stage because
you don't have to do them.
Yeah. So because you can unlock these lookout KotORs by just like playing the game normally, and I didn't know what they were used for, so I had a shit ton of them. And then I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I'll just go through the towers. I didn't even know they were like, I knew there were cyberspace levels, but I didn't really like look out for them because like I've already had enough KotORs.
They're bad.
Like I know to get like more KotORs, you gotta do really specific things. They like look for all the flickies and like do some other shit to get the things. So that wasn't very fun. So I didn't even bother with it. And then we have the towers themselves, basically like a non-issue on easy because there was like balloons fucking everywhere, and I basically didn't have to platform at all.
Oh really?
So,
oh my god! I didn't know that turning it on easy for the towers would fucking do that. Yeah. Because I did every single tower on like medium, and I was just like, I fucking fell. I'm yelling at my game. I fucking hate this shit. What the fuck is going on?
With Sonic,
I was just so mad every single time.
Yeah. So the towers, I basically finished them all in like 5 minutes. Like they were like basically non-issues because like on easy you just get balloons everywhere. You could just like cheese the whole fucking thing. So that's what I did. And then the trials, like most of them were fine. It was just the snake trial that's like weirdly hard for no reason.
Yeah.
The way I did it was I got up close to the dude and he would do the circle, like he would throw his shield in a circle, and I would just parry the thing and it would go backwards and I get like a few hits. Then I parry and just keep like doing that until it died. So that's kind of how I did that. But yeah, besides that trial, all of them were like pretty easy except like the last one, which we'll talk about later. But what was your thoughts on just the towers? Actually, yeah, you already said about the characters.
I mean, just like I guess what's it called? There's another thing that you mentioned before. Oh, the fucking cyberspace level. So the reason why the cyberspace levels suck, in my opinion, is because they just feel like the level design is just like all over the place. Like they don't have any rhyme or reason, and the way you have to play them. Because I saw someone play one of the cyberspace levels, and they're just like spin dashing and like going fast, really fast, going through everywhere. I was like, oh, okay, like that looks pretty cool. That looks like how the level's supposed to be played. The problem is that in the base Sonic Frontiers game, every single cyberspace level did not play like that. It played like a normal Sonic Generation Sonic Unleashed level where it's like you're just boosting, fast, and you're just, having fun, having a good time. Now it's like you gotta like boost, you gotta like jump into like this location, you gotta like do a bunch of crazy shit. And obviously like that comes with like the higher difficulty that they're trying to sort of impose on us. But at the same time, I'm just like, these cyberspace levels are not fun. Like they are just not fun to play through. And even then, getting all of those collectibles, I'm just like, there's flickies, there's the numbers, and then there's the moons. And I'm just like, you expect me to replay these levels 3 times over to get all these collectibles? Because there's no shot you get them all within one go. Like there's no way. So I'm just like, this is not worth it. Like this shit is just not worth it at all for me personally. Like for my mental, for my sort of like, time or whatever, I'm just like, this shit is not worth it. So, but with the towers and everything, like obviously like they're hard, but at the same time, it's just like the design. The fucking design of them is just like up the ass. So like the first one where it's like that blue chest, the bumper's hidden there. I'm just like, why is it hidden? Why are you making me do the side loop? On top of that, there's speed pads that go up and down. Why is this here? Are you just trying to make me throw my controller for no fucking reason over this free update? This is ridiculous. Second, there was another part where the like purple walls spawn and you use them to climb up. I'm like, oh, okay, like that's fine. They don't respawn. So I'm just like, okay, I climb back up and then it's just like blank. I have to just like precisely platform along the fucking walls. And I'm just like, this is really stressful because if I fall, I'm going to be really pissed at myself. Yeah. So it was just a lot of sweating and just like a lot of just like unneeded aggravation for this update. But yeah, and then just like the trials, like in it of themselves, I'm just like, it's just bullshit. Like why is it like so specific? Why is it so like just like I have to do this exact thing or else I lose? Because that just makes no sense in my opinion from a game design standpoint. Because you want the player to find out different ways to defeat things and not just like use the optimal way to get past it. Because that's exactly what I did. Because I'm just like, okay, I don't know how to get past this because the way that I'm doing it is obviously not working. I'm gonna fucking look it up on YouTube because obviously, with the power of the internet and sort of everyone just like recording their own gameplay stuff and just uploading it online, I could see how other people did it. So yeah, it was just really annoying to just like get through everything like that because I'm just like, I don't like to play games like that, obviously, because I want to get through it on my own, but I'm just like, all right, how the fuck am I supposed to like perfect parry this shit? And then I'm like watching them do it. I'm like, that window is so much larger than mine. And I'm like, oh, I got to put it on easy. All right, I'll put it on easy now. I'll give up my pride. I'll put it on easy. But yeah, it was just really annoying.
Yeah, for me, like honestly, even like the towers in the base game, because there was also I climbed the towers in the base game. Those were like pretty difficult to do because I did that on normal. But at least it had like the little pulley to like bring you back where you were. Like there was like a checkpoint, so it wasn't like too stressful. But it was still like pretty difficult. This one, it made it even harder, and I'm like, I'm not doing that. so yeah, that's why I had that shit on easy like from the start. And yeah, like you said, like. Like the parry windows, just like I just feel like the game was like not meant for that. Yeah,
it was just not meant for you to perfect parry, especially because there's no like clear indication. Like imagine if there was like maybe like during the second boss with the fucking snake, maybe
the wyvern,
maybe like his like eye shined or whatever, and then that's when you would parry. But like there's no like clear indication like that. It's like you just have to do it like around when he almost hits you, and sometimes it goes through, sometimes it doesn't, because it's so infuriating that that's the only way to damage the boss. And because you're on a time limit with the fucking rings counting down and you have another boss after that, it's just like, okay, there's a lot of stress put on you for like no reason.
Yeah. So like, the master trial was like just a giant pain in the ass. Like the first boss isn't too bad because like, you can kill him pretty fast. But yeah, I know the second boss is like the worst because you have to parry it to do like basically anything. And even with like I have like an extra second of a parry window on easy. Like it's like 2 seconds on easy and like 1 second on hard, or on normal rather. On extreme mode, it's like you get like 3 frames to parry or some shit, which is like insane. But you have to parry the wyvern boss, and if you miss like any parry, like if you miss too many, you're basically like dead because you won't be able to kill the last boss in time. So it's just like a lot of stress. And it also doesn't help like the last boss, like going on his shield is such a shitty mechanic.
Oh yes.
Like,
oh my god, bro.
I fucking hate that. So
I actually beat him the first time. I was so stressed out doing that. I was like, oh my fucking god. There was another boss after it. I was like, oh fuck. Okay, let's see if I can actually like do this my first try. And I actually did, because obviously it was like on easy, and you know, at that point I was playing those first two bosses over and over again, where it was just like, okay, I actually like managed to like get through it within decent time. But what do you think of the new story elements that they added?
So yeah, I know they have like a lot of like extra conversations and stuff. Like I didn't go through all of them, but you know, I think this basically feels less like an alternate ending and more like the ending they wanted to do to begin with.
Yeah.
Like when you're on the last island, the way to access this DLC is to like enter like a big ring, and then like you're in like DLC land.
Oh wait, yeah, that shit. Why was it just like not on like the main menu and you could just like select the DLC? Because I was just like, okay, how the fuck do I switch islands? Okay, where the fuck is this thing? Because then I gotta run to it. It's probably like a tiny nitpick, but that's just my thing where I'm just like, okay, it's a free update. It's gonna be like a completely different save anyways. Why not just have it in like the main menu as like the Final Horizon update?
Yeah, I agree. It should have just been like, yeah, like a separate like save file or whatever. Like, I mean, it already is, so like why not just put it in the main menu? But yeah, either way, this kind of feels like the ending they definitely wanted to do, because the ending of Base Frontiers was like felt very rushed, like especially like the final supersonic fight, which wasn't even a supersonic fight. It was just playing Ikaruga and shit. So I know a lot of people like, you know, weren't a fan. I wasn't really a fan. Like, yeah, even you can't even fight the Ikaruga boss on normal. Like, you gotta play on hard to do it. I'm like, why is this even a thing? It was just really weird. I do feel like in general, I think this is a stronger finale in terms of just like spectacle, I guess. Like, you know, we have like the actual supersonic fight, all your friends, you get your power of friendship and shit. It just made way more sense to me, even if like the update is like whatever. Like, you know, I feel like this is kind of the ending it should have had to begin with. Like it's kind of dumb we didn't get to play as like Cybersonic wherever the fuck, like that would have been cool to actually do that. But we got like Supersonic 2, I guess, so that's cool. But yeah, we should have gotten the new transformations to be playable for like more than like 2 seconds. But either way, like I thought the finale was like a lot better in terms of like just like how I expect a 3D Sonic game to end.
No one
and then
dying.
the ending, like Sage is also like fine now, so I guess she's gonna be in other games. So I thought that stuff was really fun. Obviously, like I also knew about targeting the cord, so like I'm like, okay, I know to do this. So it didn't take me that long at all. Like I thought it was pretty fine. But
when I hit that revelation, Kobe was fucking at a loss for words. He's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, no, it's awful. It's awful game design. Like the game never tells you could switch targets like that, and like it should. Why even target the head at that point?
This is what I keep saying. I'm just like, why the fuck is the head targetable, bro? This shit is infuriating. Because imagine you're a fucking kid and you play this update.
Kids are crying, dude.
You are not getting through this shit. Not even on easy. Like I cannot imagine my kid self. Maybe I would, because I'm a fucking Sonic fan. But like I would probably spend like 15 hours on this shit as a child, like trying to get through all this, because I got through it in 10, and like even then I was looking shit up. I was like still having a hard time. I was just like, man, this update is just like insane. And I get it, like their intention was to like make it harder and everything like that, but like there's a way to make things harder and also just not bullshit, you know?
It should have just had like a challenge mode or something. Like it should have been like,
I think that was part of like a previous update, but not like this.
It should have been like, once you beat the DLC base level of difficulty should have just been the same as like the normal game, and it'd be like once you beat it, it's like, oh, you could go through it with like all these hard conditions or something. I think that would have made people a lot more forgiving, because I feel like your game can't be janky and difficult, right? like I feel like if you're, because Frontiers is a janky ass game, but it was easy, right? Like, and that's fine, because I feel like if your game isn't like up to like, you know, code or whatever, like if it's not like super tight, if it's not like this tight experience and you make it hard, I feel like it's just frustrating. Like some of the hardest games I played, I know it's like my own fault, because the game controls really fine, like level design is good, like the boss design is good. I just know it's my fault. Like it's not like Cuphead, right? Like Cuphead, like the game controls like beautifully, the boss fights are like done really well. I just have to get good. This one is like most of it's like not even your fault. Like most of it is just because the game is like fucking broken. So like that's kind of where the main issue comes in, like being like janky and hard. It like does not fit together really well. And I hate that everyone on Sonic Tour is just like, oh, just get good. But I'm like, it's like, come on. it's like kind of just like a mess.
You have to think about like the general audience, and the general audience is kids. Like at the end of the day, it's going to be kids that are going to be playing Sonic games for years and years and years, because Sonic is, you know, a character that is appealing to kids, obviously. So for this update to be as hard as it is, my God, man, like this shit is crazy. You know, like I am obviously like 25 and I was like struggling with this shit. And obviously Sonic Twitter is probably around that age, probably younger, a little bit younger, but you know, they're adults, so they probably know what it's like to play a hard game. And for a lot of them to be like, I really enjoyed Sonic Frontiers, even though it was like really fucking hard. I'm like, all right, you know what? That's your opinion. But in my eyes, I'm just like, there's just so much bullshit that went wrong here that I'm just like, why is this the way it is, other than for you to make it hard, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I don't know. I think it just went a little too overboard. Maybe they heard too many people said the base game was too easy. It's like, all right, we're gonna make
and to all those people that said it, fuck you. Actually, I cannot believe it.
Yeah, because usually, like, I don't know. I feel like I'm okay with platformers like being mostly easy until like maybe there's some like secret, like, you know, like Mario usually has like a World 9 that's like really hard, or like a Master Trial thing. Like that's fine. I feel like just a DLC story mode like this, it should just be the same difficulty level, and like that's about it. Like I don't know why they made it like so like annoyingly hard for no reason. Yeah. But again, most of my enjoyment of the DLC came from just exploring the maps and flying around with Tails or flying around with Knuckles. Like that was pretty enjoyable to me. Yeah. I had a good time. But yeah, I think overall I definitely understand why people are like upset with this and how it does hinder their experience a lot more than helps it. Because it's bullshit.
It is just so crazy that they made this, that they were like, this is good, we'll ship it out. And you know, it just ended up being probably one of the hardest Sonic things that I've done in years. Like I've not sweated over a Sonic game since Sonic Unleashed Eggman Land, and that was because that level was just extremely fucking hard. But this is a whole ass update, so it's good thing it wasn't paid for. That's all I say. good thing it was free, because people would be even more mad. So, because I think a lot of people make it the point of them being like, oh, you know what, they're experimenting, it was a free update. You know what, that's fine. But at the same time, you have to make the experience somewhat enjoyable, especially because they were trying so many different things here within the gameplay aspect in and of itself. You know, like, do not touch the cyberspace levels. The cyberspace levels are just a mess, in my opinion. Like, they are just all over the place. There's like 20 different objectives that you have to do, and like the level design is so wonky. Like, I feel like I'm playing like a fucking Kaizo level sometimes, because I'm just like, what is happening here? Like, there's just things floating around. I'm like, all right, whatever.
A lot of level design feels like that. Like, even the towers, like, there's just like, they show that clip. Oh, it's just like a bunch of boxes everywhere. I'm like, what is this? Level design is my passion.
And you know, obviously, like, the game still performs in a very iffy state, and
the pop-in is horrible.
You notice the pop-in so much more when you're playing as Tails, Amy, and Knuckles, just because the game was not meant for them. You know, so you're flying around as Knuckles, and then all of a sudden, oh shit, I can. I'm like, oh shit, I can, like, you know, climb to that because it just popped into my area. And forget playing as Tails in the fucking tornado. When you're flying around, stuff will just literally pop in front of you. So
the game clearly wasn't designed for that. Hopefully they fix those pop-in. It's really bad.
It is. It is especially bad in this update, but you know what? It is what it is. That was in the base game. It's especially bad here. But I'm fucking done talking about this thing.
I am done talking about Sonic for this week. We're gonna talk about him again next podcast, so don't worry about that.
But yeah, thank you guys for listening to the Travis and Damian podcast, episode 123. We'll see you guys 2 weeks from now with another episode.
See ya.